Hey everyone, Jessie here, and I just wanted to bring this month's video to you, which I found this great little spot. Everything is finally just coming into bloom here in Sioux Falls area, and you can see some of the great little flowers behind me. I found this wonderful little garden spot to be in today, and I know my hair is a little wild today, so I hope you forgive that. It's when it starts to get warmer, I've got these short pieces growing in, and it's getting all curly on me and and creating interesting looks for me. But anyways, this month what I wanted to do was bring some insight to you about lymph nodes and the lymphatic system. And I wanted to do that because I had a couple of friends that had things come up recently with their lymphatic system, and I thought, wow, what a great topic to address here at this season and this time of year. And why would that be? Because so many times this time of year, with everything that's blooming, like what's right behind me here, these beautiful flowers, then what happens is our allergies, our sinuses start to stir up along the way. And when this happens, a lot of times what gets affected is our lymphatic system, because in the lymphatic system, it's always trying to drain things off. It's always trying to, the lymphatic system is actually very, very big when we talk about swelling in the body. So it oftentimes goes hand in hand with digestion, what we're processing, things like that. And it can oftentimes be affected. And you may have experienced this even yourself, where you get this huge lump like right in your throat region, and it seems like nothing's healing it, and you go to the doctor and they go, there's nothing wrong with you, and those sorts of things. Well, that's one of those things that comes up, like when our allergies get stirred up, particularly when we're coming out of the winter season. And what happens is it can feel like a lump, it can feel like a bump, and a lot of times this can happen right in our throat area. And sometimes a lot of people will experience things like in their arms, or kind of near joint areas, or where our body bends naturally and things like that. And we have these lymph nodes all over our system. And I started looking at the codes, and I'm like, let's take a look, right? Because that's how I am. Let's take a look at the codes and let's find out what's going on. And so I started doing that. And as I delved into the codes of lymph nodes, I found a couple of things. The lymph nodes are really strongly connected to our success and our abundance, which is very, very interesting because most people don't make those connections in there. It can also affect other things, because when we get congestion types of things and we get swelling types of things going on, then it's going to affect things like our detoxing, our body's ability to process foods, our circulation system. So many signs and symptoms can come up that can be hard to distinguish what they are. So oftentimes the lymphatic system can be a great place to start. And what's cool with the lymphatic system is that while in some ways things can be very dangerous, on the other hand, they can also be very easy to work with through massage or various things. Even hot water, I've done that a lot, just cleared through hot water in my throat, lymph area. And we see a lot of people that, for example, maybe either have diabetes or they've had thyroid issues, particularly thyroid issues, and they'll have a lot of lymph system things going on. And the other reason that this time of year is perfect for doing this topic is because we're coming out of winter. And winter, what happens is we tend to get a little sluggish, right? And our bodies reflect that. It's a little bit sluggish going. And now that it's spring, it's starting to come alive, and it's starting to wake up, and it's starting to, like the birds all singing behind me and things like that. It's an exciting time of year where it's starting to wake up, but it hasn't quite gotten going yet. And so I mentioned the success piece that's in there, but then there's also some other little pieces in there that, and I apologize, I'm kind of looking around a little bit here because I have so much going on in this environment. But in addition to the success, the lymph nodes are also about receiving assistance, and they do a really big part with the detoxification in our bodies. They do a really big part of keeping things moving in our bodies. And so we can see where we get that assistance. And it's about receiving assistance to generate success or to create success from assistance. And when we bring these pieces together, what we find is that the lymph nodes are really about stepping into taking command of our lives. They're about our creativity. They are about, being able to succeed on our own. And what's interesting is it's got this piece of receiving assistance from others, but then as it comes together, it's also about being able to stand on our own. So it's kind of like you get enough assistance to stand on your own with it, which is really interesting. Now, when we get into the actual lymphatic system, we have two main pieces that come out of that, and that is about being able to be in charge, be in command, be able to, again, kind of function on your own piece, but also to be able to be a leader to others. And this is a big piece with the lymphatic system. And then another piece of it is about spiritual development. And those codes are in the system piece. Anytime we deal with a system, we're dealing with spiritual development. So sometimes what happens is there's like a big giant pause button that comes on in our lives, and we kind of go, huh? Why is everything being delayed? Why is everything on hold? And things like that. And certainly we could say, oh, the planets are retrograde, or this is happening, or that's happening. But when we get these phases in relations to code, then what we're doing is we're finding that the code energy is saying, hey, you've got to stop and develop some things in the spiritual realm first. You may have gotten too far out of balance, too far push. And we find this as we get the energy of congestion come up, because usually when we're experiencing where we get to a point where we feel, say, some lumps, or we feel some bumps, or we feel like our tonsils are all swollen. Well, I learned a long time ago from one of my doctors, it's not that your tonsils are swollen. Guess what? It's your lymph nodes that are swollen. And these things are important for us to know, because when we understand the codes of the body, when we understand the codes of some of these health keys and what we deal with, then we know the energy that we need to be working with. We understand better where the blocks are. So when I take a look at them being swollen, it's almost like we're walking some fine lines of danger. We're able to do a lot. We might be moving a lot. We might be producing a lot. We might be getting some material world financial success, but we're also walking some very fine lines that is putting ourselves in some sort of risk. And that could be the risk of trying to be everybody's friend, for example. It could just be we're doing too much, and that's starting to put us at risk. And, when we look at congestion, because congestion is the piece that we really notice when we talk about the lymphatic system. Congestion is the piece that makes us feel the bumps. The congestion is the piece where you feel like your throat's swollen and your tonsils are swollen, you feel miserable, or you feel the bumps under your arm, or things like that. And so that congestion is really revolutionary energy. It's like saying, okay, you're kind of headed down the wrong path right now. You're headed down a path that isn't favorable for you, and your body's rebelling at that point. And because it hasn't been getting your attention, the only thing that it knows is to kind of put a halt on action where it can, which means putting a halt on the lymphatic system, which moves all of this stuff through our body and keeps our body functioning really beautifully. And so when we do that, and that congestion builds up, then we tend to get very tender spots. It almost feels like there's a mass, or there's, it can start to feel even hard in there. So, lots of I always do warm water. When I start to feel any of these things come on, I'll do warm water with lemon in it, that type of thing. There's two parts of that. One, it alkalizes the body really well. And then two, that warm lemon water breaks up all the congestion. So if we look at this and we say, okay, our body has this congestion going on, therefore the lymph nodes are blocked and swelling or whatever is happening in the body, then we also know and realize that we have a congestion going on in our lives. We have a rebellion going on. Our body is literally in a rebellion against what we're doing, and we need to stop, and we need to pause, and we need to get connected with spirit, and we need to come back to our center of focus and go, okay, what am I in excess of? What am I doing too much of? You know, am I pushing too hard? Am I not honoring the meditation time? Am I not getting my time in nature? I know for me that's a big one because I've got all this beautiful nature around here, and during the winter months I've been working like crazy, doing a ton of things, and I'm so excited because I've finally gotten some of the light at the end of the tunnel of where I might be headed, and the directions in the next part of the country I'm going to be going to, and I'm so excited to see it come about. So you're really going to have to stay tuned over the next few months because there's going to be some big changes. I've got some traveling I'm going to do and things like that. But when we recognize this and we stop and we honor that time, we stop, we nurture ourselves, we stop, we get in connection, then what we can do is open up that lymphatic system. We can stop the stressing, we can stop the worrying, and I should mention, and I will do eventually a separate video on the codes about stress and worry and anxiety in the near future, because that's something I've promised somebody. But also because the stress and the worry and the anxiety, and when we're always worrying about other people and whether this is going to happen or that's going to happen or what people are thinking of us, we create this congestion in the lymphatic system. We literally are overloading our body beyond what it can process. So that's a big thing to keep in mind. So if the body has more to let go of, more to detox than what it can detox at a given time, then it creates this congestion, it puts everything on hold, it tries to force you to stop, it tries to force you to make some changes. So I want you to think about this, because then as this comes together, what we find is the lymphatic system is really all about stepping into our own power. Because when we bring these pieces together and we're able to take command of our lives, take charge of it, stop letting everything rule us, get connected, put an emphasis on the spiritual first, and do that work first, the rest of it comes together, and then we automatically step into our own personal power. We automatically step into where we have full command of things in our life. And this is where we want to be. We don't want to be afraid to make the decisions for ourselves. We don't want to be afraid to make choices and you know, say yes, this is where it's at and where it's going, and this is what's going to happen. And to step into leading, being the leader in our own lives. And when you do this, a lot of these things will dissolve naturally in the body. So it's very, very exciting. And when I look at the code work and the potential with this, you know, these are the things that if I was looking at a lymphatic system and wanting to heal somebody, I would want to strengthen them and the lymphatic system, for example, and then I would minimize the blockages, or I would bring in code energy, code ray light that would dissolve the blockages and the congestion part of it. But the key is if you're not in the space of spiritual and you're not willing to unload a little bit, if you're not willing to pause even for 5 or 10 or 15 or 20 minutes out of your day, when that unblocks, it's really going to be hard. And that's why it makes you stop, because if you're already overwhelmed and then the system unblocks itself and everything starts, the floodgates open, as they say, then it's gonna become even more challenging. So that's where it's saying stop, get yourself in order, put the pieces in place. And I know I've been doing a whole heck of a lot of that recently, and things are moving fast and the doors are flying open. So that's my piece about the lymphatic system, and it plays right into winter because we do slow down. Winter's almost like the congestion part of the year where we slow down and we need to be quiet, we need to be still, and we do that reflective work. But now it's about coming out in the world. It's about these beautiful spring flowers and blossoms that are emerging, and you know, it's so exciting to see. So this is a big piece. Take care of your lymphatic system, take care of you, take care of spirit, and these things will interrelate and your body will respond. So if you're struggling with anything like that, put your focus there. Put your focus on spirit first and connect. Take care, everybody. It's been great seeing you this month, and I'll be back with some other amazing video next month. You can learn more about my code work as well as everything that I'm doing, everything that I have going on through my website, Jessie Ann Nichols George, #1.com. Take care. Bye-bye.